I call her she's like the good witch, you know. Oh no, we've been together, let's see, this will be 26 years now. And longer, because we actually were dating before we got married. She's a Midwest farm girl. Her dad and mom still operate a working farm in Illinois, and comes from a great family. She's got 7 brothers and a sister, 6 brothers and a sister. She's a solid, and she's very, very intuitive. I call her she's like the good witch, you know. She picks up on stuff that I'm completely oblivious about. And so she helps me a lot with a lot of things. Yeah, we're definitely a team. We're definitely a team. Wow. Well, I'm very much into the outdoors. We have our house in Colorado, so we go out there a lot. I love to hike. I love to bike. I cross country ski. I used to downhill ski, but I don't do that anymore. And I love vintage cars. I love restoring and collecting vintage cars. And nothing better than getting out on a country road and just driving my old car from the 1950s. It's a lifetime, yes. It was a real adjustment, especially initially. Just the fact, first of all, is it was hard to accept that was going to happen. And then once I accepted it, then I embraced it. Then I said, well, you know what, I'm going to be home, so let me enjoy this new reality, basically. And my wife and I hunkered down, and we started cooking together and doing a bunch of great stuff like that. But also I had time to go back and listen to some music that, old music that was inspirational to me. And I started to think, and how could I take, kind of rediscover those inspirations and translate that to something new. And I began to write a lot of songs, and then amazing things started happening. This guy, a friend of mine from that I've known for years, called me out of the blue and said he was doing a movie and would I like to write some songs for his movie? And I was like, yes. And believe it or not, I've got a lot of time on my hands. So I started writing, and then I started writing with people on Zoom, which I had never done before. So I had to embrace that the new technology of that. And at first, I said, well, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but it actually started working. And so I collaborated with a great Mexican singer from Mexico City, and then collaborating with people from LA, and a young guy from South Carolina, and we put all these great songs together for a movie, which hopefully is going to come out pretty soon. And so, like I said, it was more than a little bit of a readjustment, but then once I accepted it, good things started happening. Well, Daryl and I had planned a big tour in 2020. We played 2 shows in mid-February, and they were amazing. And we thought, what a great year this is going to be. And of course, the COVID rug was pulled out from under all of us. So once that happened, and nothing was going to happen then, Daryl and I didn't get around to doing some of those shows until late 21. So in August of 21, we got in 20 shows into the fall. So that was great. At least we got that out of the way. But having, waited through all that period and doing the big show with Daryl, playing big arenas, sold out shows, 10, 15,000 people, with lots of bells and whistles, trucks and buses and video screens, I wanted to go in the exact opposite direction. So when I got back to Nashville, I got together with Guthrie, and I said, hey man, let's just play a little bit. And he came over to the house. We started playing together, just 2 acoustic guitars in the living room. And we said, man, this sounds so good. Why don't we just do this? Because he's a badass guitar player. He and I have been friends for over 15 years, and we've worked together in the recording studio, on the road, in different bands with different artists, and we just have this thing. We have a great relationship in terms of friendship, but we also have this very, very intuitive musical relationship. And he's just, he makes me a better guitar player. And, over the years, when I've worked with great musicians, one of the hallmarks of working with great musicians is that they make everyone around them better. And he satisfies all of those criteria. No, he's he and I have always seen ourselves as two independent, creative people. We work together and we've made, our giant career together, but we've always maintained our individuality. And I know this might seem like a subtle point, but if you look at our albums, every album says Daryl Hall and John Oates. There's not one album that we've ever made that says Hall and Oates. And we did that on purpose. Now, it might seem like maybe a nitpicky thing, but we wanted to be perceived as two people. Even though we work together in a creative collaboration, we're two people. Daryl's going to be on tour with Todd Rundgren in April. He's going to do some day. He and Todd are good friends. He wanted to do that. So we've given ourselves the space to allow to do that. And by doing so, it enables he and I to continue to work together. It is remarkable. It's very remarkable. Sometimes I can't believe it myself. So, yeah. We kind of came up with this, crackpot scheme to say, let's bring the living room to the people. And that's what we do. So we show up with two guitars and microphones, and there's no equipment, no amplifiers, no roadies, no nothing, just us. And we tell stories and we play and we take requests from the audience. And it turned out to be a really amazing thing. So we tried it out in Nashville just to test it, and people went crazy. And we said, okay, this is good. Let's do it. So we rolled out a few shows on the East Coast. We're going to do more in April and May. We're going to Europe. If Europe still exists by the time we get around to it, that's another story. So that's what we're doing. And then what we did was we videotaped a show in Nashville that we're going to stream live on March 13th with Mandolin. Mandolin is a great streaming service.
Yes.
Yeah. So March 13th in the evening, 8 p.m. Eastern, you're going to see the show. So if you want to know what we do, March 13th, you'll get a sneak peek of the show. We always were, I think we both have a lot of similarities in that we're both pure musicians. Daryl as a child and myself as a child, we had this exact same experience. Daryl's mother was a music teacher and a singer. He sang in church. He sang as a little kid. He played piano at a very early age. And I was doing the same thing. So we had this kind of parallel life. And then, so when we met, I think it's the musical aspect of our personalities that is very similar. But what's interesting is that we're completely different as people when it comes to our personal lives, in terms of our aspirations of what we want and how we want to live our lives. So, and I think that allows us to be independent, but yet we have this common language. So we've always been open to new ideas. We've always been open to, technology changes. I mean, we recorded, when we began recording, it was the analog era, there was no such thing as digital. When digital technology came in the mid 80s in its infancy, we embraced it early on. If you listen to the Big Bam Boom album, that was the beginning for us to start to integrate the earliest digital technology into the analog recording world and put them together. And so, so we've seen that change. We've been part of the old world and, kind of evolved into the new world. Real music played by real musicians in the most organic and authentic way that's humanly possible. I mean, if we didn't have to use microphones, we wouldn't even use those. But we literally we carry 3 microphones, one for each guitar and one for my vocal, and we carry 2 acoustic guitars. That is our entire entourage. And that's it. And we show up and we play. We could literally play in a living room, we could play on a street corner, we could play in a coffee shop, or we can play on a stage.